Dive right now into the presence of your uncomfortable truth that the world within, full of potential and possibility, lies in this very moment. That all that you need and secretly want and desire is in the comforts or discomforts that reside here in this moment. Find it within yourself to come into contact with this secret yearning to connect with that which already is and present and full of possibility and potential. And to uncover the reality that possibility and potential exist within discomforts and comforts. These oscillating forces which co-create together, that beneath our perceptions or above our perceptions are in harmony with one. And when we avoid our uncomfortable truth of the fruitfulness of the present moment through our separation of these oscillating creative forces, we diminish the returns of our, and indeed block our potential and possibility that exists within the comforts and discomforts, and to do our best to, when facing discerning definitions of these two forces, to reconnect with the totality of ourselves in that reality, in that sometimes uncomfortable truth of the fruitfulness of our presence in this moment now. And that in this moment now that we are creating, whether that be for comfort or discomfort, we are creating. And it is up to us to open ourselves up to that which is uncomfortable in order to let in the other half of our creative potential and possibility. We are to find surprising gifts in that experience. For it is often our perceptions and definitions and often judgments which prevent us from our creative potential and possibility. We are but living through judgments rather than through the uncomfortable truth of our present moment. Splitting the present moment into good and to bad, into comfort and discomfort. Avoiding the uncomfortable truth of our totality in that reality. This is our invitation into the present moment, whether that be comfortable or indeed uncomfortable. And to do our best to sit in that, or to create in that, or to laugh in that, or to cry in that. But to be in that. That is the important part. That is where the creative nature of our innate possibility and potential is allowed to thrive and to blossom. If we tell a flower it is only good in the daylight and bad in the nighttime, then we limit it to only being good in certain moments. But a flower still has its beauty even though the moon is out and the sky is dark. And it is up to us to see our own flower in that state, in moments of comfort in the light of day and in discomfort in the dark of night. It is in this totality, in this uncomfortable truth of our potentiality in the present moment, that we are able to create from our possibility, from the fullness of our possibility. So it is an invitation, of course. It is always an invitation from oneself to oneself. That is always the way. We are always inviting ourselves, to our potential and possibility. But we often rely on a language learnt. And in this verbal language, we prescribe judgments and definitions to ourselves when we invite ourselves to ourselves. So when we invite ourselves to ourselves, we often use a verbal language to prescribe definitions and labels and judgments on that invitation. Whereas if we are sensitive to that invitation through being in the moment, whether comfortable or uncomfortable, we are able to realize that the fruits of that invitation, to realize, embody first, and then express the fullness of our potential and possibility. This is always an invitation available to us to remember ourselves in the present moment and not through the judgments we casually lend to ourselves. Because we have become accustomed to lending judgments to ourselves rather than being in ourselves or allowing ourselves, permitting ourselves, not casting judgment on our flower, on our inner flower. Always understanding that the flower has beauty. And if you're uncomfortable, that beauty is still there. And if you're comfortable, beauty is still there. And this invitation leads us to expansion. Expansion beyond the plateau of verbal definition and judgment, which can only take one so far. Because our beauty isn't meant to be limited by description. It is meant to be experienced and felt and adored. And laughter may emerge and tears may flow. That can be sure. But in both, the beauty is there. The beauty invites you. The beauty is present with you. And so this is the invitation. This is the duality of that invitation, is that it defies expectation. It removes your attempts to prescribe judgments through good and through bad. Because beauty isn't known through the lens of good and bad. Beauty does not know verbal language. It knows embodiment, it knows expression. And in embodiment and expression, we come to understand beauty a bit more. This process will always reveal new colours and flavours for us to taste and enjoy, and for expressing for others too as well. But it will never be come to understood through definitions or judgments. It will always be an embodiment and an expression, which will vary and will grow and will expand and will reveal infinitely more colours and flavours that defy and consistently defy one's expectations and judgments, in which we have to learn not to control our beauty, but to control the urge to control our beauty through definitions and judgments and descriptions. To be careful not to create a rigid narrative around that which is narrative-less, is without narrative, is dynamic, is expressive. To be in the uncomfortable truth that the beauty is there, even if you do not see it, even if your judgments or descriptions or perceptions cannot see it, it is there. And that is the path of embodiment, is to embody it even when your expectations and labels and definitions fail you, is to embody it. Because through the process of embodiment in that soil of your beauty, will you see the fruits of that emerge in effortless ways through expression. And when you experience this process a few times, you come to understand that, okay, verbal language, definitions, descriptions, judgments have their place in the world, but not within, not to one's inner beauty, to one's flower. And in that domain, we have to understand that the verbal language and judgments and descriptions and definitions simply will not do. And beauty simply has no time, place, understanding. It's like trying to light an ocean on fire. You can try, sure, but in the end, it's going to cause more pain than it's worth if you keep trying to light that which does not want to be lit, or to criticize or judge that which does not want to be criticized or judged, or does not understand that. It is like criticizing the sun. The sun simply does not care, or does not even register your definitions or declarations at the sun. And so you and your inner beauty is very much like the sun, or a planet, or a galaxy. You can only understand it through embodiment and then through spontaneous expression. And this is where one finds life and fruitfulness and expansion and creativity and joy. And I would invite you to explore your own invitation into yourself, to see where you go within and then without, through embodiment first, and then spontaneous and effortless expression without. To take time with your invitation, be patient with your invitation, be present with your invitation, and loosen your expectations and judgments and definitions upon your invitation. And with that,